Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Lunch Table Podcast. In this episode, we will give you our review for Season 2 of Shadow and Bone, now streaming on Netflix. Just beware, there will be spoilers ahead. I haven't seen it, but Dylan has, so Dylan has a lot of thoughts about it. So, Dylan, let's get started with your thoughts.
It's a cool, fantasy series. It's not my favorite fantasy series on Netflix, but it has a lot of cool elements and a lot of cool politics in it. I haven't read the books, so if anyone has read the books, they'll probably appreciate this series more. I watched half of season 1, but I thought it was a pretty cool series. But season 2, it's like we see that there's bigger events happening. There's like this big battle between Alina and Kerrigan, played by Billy Russo himself. It's funny because they messed his face up. So it's like he's basically Billy Russo in this.
Right.
But yeah, it was interesting. I think the main takeaway from this series, obviously Alina, she's trying to build up her powers, so she has to find the Sea Whip and the Firebird, so that she can take down the Fold. And then she kind of has like this Harry Potter and Voldemort link between Kerrigan. So he's like kind of getting in her head a little bit. I think it's like starting to corrupt her in a way. Like she's getting involved with like the royal family. And also we see Nikolai. He's like the prince, and he's kind of now the leader of Ravka. And now it's a united Ravka because the Fold has been taken down now. But I wonder now, like, what's his angle now? Is he gonna be like pro Grisha or like anti Grisha? Because it seems like now they're building like to this war between the Freredans too. So I mean, you haven't seen it, but what were your thoughts on season 1 when you watched it?
Oh yeah, well, when I watched season 1, I really liked there was like this complex issue between Kerrigan and also Alina. I liked that. It was kind of, in a way, I think it seemed sort of romantic at times. It was really interesting. That's what I was going to ask you. Is that like in play in this season at all?
Kerrigan's like kind of obsessed with her a little bit.
Is it corny though?
I don't know if that's romantic.
Or?
There's like subtle like hints of it, but I think mainly he just wants her like by his side so that he can attain power, basically.
Right. Okay.
But I mean, we had his mother in this series too. So we see Kerrigan's mother, and she's kind of like a counselor to Alina. I thought that was cool, and I didn't know that was the actress from Harry Potter too that played Madame Hooch. That was cool. I loved seeing though the Ketterdam storyline though with Kaz. I always thought their story was more interesting, to be honest. It's like it's kind of like Gangs of London thing, but it was like with fantasy elements.
Yeah, was this season more bigger scope wise?
I would say. I mean, we saw similar locations from the last season. We saw Shuhan. I thought that was interesting. It was like this cool, like kind of Asian inspired land that I think they'll explore next season because Alina's half Shuhan, and now she's kind of exploring her roots again. So I wonder if like next season she'll start to explore that more. I thought it was kind of cool too, like how they found that sword. It could like cut through shadow too. So there's a lot of cool, like it takes from like real life kind of inspired like countries, but then kind of like puts their own like fantasy twist on that.
Yeah, I love dark fantasy sometimes. I love it, especially when there's this intertextuality where it feels historical in a way, and I think that makes it really authentic. Were there any like amazing ass moments in this with the CGI and stuff? I know that there's a good budget for this.
Well, I love seeing like Nikolai's like pirate ship. I thought that was cool. How it kind of like transforms into like an airship too. I mean, anything you'd come to expect from a Netflix fantasy series, like it's in this show, like anything you'd expect from like The Witcher, like Harry Potter, or even like we did The Sandman, kind of like similar tone to that too.
And let me ask you, what are the downfalls to season 2?
I think pacing. It feels like it's a lot. It's very long. It's very hard to follow sometimes. I mean, this was I think 8 episodes, but they were really long episodes. It was like really hard. They're basically like watching like 8 movies sometimes.
Oh, wow.
I think also like it might be a downfall if you're not familiar with the books. They throw a lot of like terminology from the story and the lore So it's kind of hard to follow. So I had to Google a lot of the shit they were saying sometimes because I feel like they were like speaking another language basically. But other than that, I mean, you can kind of follow along. It feels like it drags on a little bit too much sometimes. And maybe it just feels like maybe trendy, I guess. Like it feels like stuff I've already seen from, like I said, like The Witcher or another fantasy show. But I mean, it's still a great series overall.
Okay, so from what you have seen, do you expect something really big for season 3 to happen?
Yeah, I think season 3 will be more political now. It's kind of like dealing with like the politics of like this. Well, the main thing is like the relationship between normal people and the Grisha. The Grisha are kind of like, I think of like the benders from Avatar. They can kind of like manipulate elements and stuff, but they're kind of like ostracized by these big governments. So I think season 3 potentially we'll see like that more explored. I think Nikolai might be going down a darker path. He was kind of infected with this Nishavoya, which was like the dark creatures that Kerrigan had. It'll be sad to see a show without Kerrigan. I think he kind of adds something like villainous to the season, but everyone's kind of like morally gray too in this series too. Yeah, and Kaz made a big play in this series too, so now he's kind of the head honcho of Kirsch now. But I think they'll explore like his background and his relationship with Inej more too.
Oh wow, okay. So out of 1 to 10, what would you rate this season?
Not bad, not my favorite. If I had to rate it, I mean, it has a lot of good elements in it, but probably like a passable show for me. So maybe I give it a 7 out of 10.
Oh, okay. All right. Seems fair. All right. Well, everybody, that is our review for Shadow and Bone Season 2. If you guys are new to the channel, please check out our other reviews and reviews discussions. We do them weekly, and we have a lot planned for this month. So, Dylan, as always, take us away.
Yeah, check out our other playlists. Check out our other reviews. We have a lot more content planned for March, where we'll be doing a Doctor Who Revisited pretty soon, one of my favorite shows, and one of Akram's favorite shows, Succession, will be coming out next week. So I just wrapped up season 3. Can't wait to watch season 4. But yeah, thank you guys so much. And until then, thanks for having lunch with us.
See you guys.